as hard as it is to believe, I used to be a very shy camper. Those who know me probably couldn't even comprehend that I didn't talk much, didn't say much. I let conversations come to me. I never really started them. And so it seems kind of funny that this story is so prevalent. But that's why it's so prevalent, is because in that moment, it was uncharacteristically like me to experience this. We had just finished singing Sanctuary down at the Lakeside Chapel. We were actually here on the railroad bed, walking to Capernaum. That is our cabin, yeah? And as we were walking, I remember my cabin mate actually asked me, "Who is this Jesus anyways?" Well, then I proceeded to take my backpack off my back, put it on my front, dig inside, and pull out my Bible from 3rd grade. And I began to tell her the stories of Jesus. This shy little kid telling the stories of Jesus to somebody she just met less than 24 hours ago. That night, I laid in bed and I said, "God, how weird, how strange. This is such an odd experience. What was that? Why was that? How did that happen?" And later I found out. God said, "Theresa, that girl on the railroad bed, her, the one on fire telling stories about Jesus, yeah, she's the one I called to ministry." Well, the two of them were actually on the road to Emmaus. And as they were traveling, they were discussing the things that had recently happened in Jerusalem. And as they walked and talked, Jesus appeared before them. But their eyes were kept from seeing him. And Jesus asked the two of them and said, "What is it that you were talking about as you walk along your way?" And they looked at him, downcast. And they said, the one who's named Cleopas spoke up and said, "Are you the only one in Jerusalem who has not heard the things that have taken place?" And Jesus said, "What things?" And they began to tell him, well, the things about Jesus of Nazareth. He was a mighty prophet in word and deed before God and people. And the religious leaders condemned him to die. And it's now been 3 days since these things have happened. We had hoped that he would be the Redeemer of Israel. 3 days have passed, and the women went to the tomb this morning, and they told us that they did not see his body, but said that they saw visions of angels saying that he had risen. So they ran back to tell the 11, and those who were there ran to the tomb as well, and they also said that they did not see his body, but they didn't see him. They didn't see him. Well, then Jesus said to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Is it not true that the Messiah must suffer to enter into his glory?" Well, then, starting with Moses, and then going through all of the prophets, Jesus began to interpret the scriptures about himself as they walked along their way. And when they had made it to their destination, Jesus went on a little bit further. But they said, "Stay with us. It is nearly dark." So he did. And that evening, when they sat down to eat, Jesus took the bread, gave thanks, broke it, and immediately their eyes were opened. They recognized who he was, and he vanished from their sight. They looked at one another and said, "Were our hearts not burning in our chests when he was revealing the scriptures to us?" And how? Well, within that hour, they got up and they went back to Jerusalem, and they found the 11, and they told them exactly what had happened. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.